Dadaism as a revolutionary art movement. 1. The origins of the Dada movement can be traced back to the establishment of Cabaret Voltaire, a Zurich-based club owned by German poet and exile Hugo Ball. Because of its free-spirited atmosphere and positioning in accessible Switzerland, the club attracted a wide range of people, many of whom had fled their native countries to escape persecution prior to the First World War. When regular poetry readings began there in the early 1900s, the events brought together a loosely organized group comprising visual artists and performers who were experimenting with bizarre art forms and dedicated to expanding the definition and the understanding of art itself. 2. As numbers visiting the club swelled, Ball quickly decided that the group needed to find a name that would identify themselves to other artists across the continent and entice others to join. Although there are several stories about how the name of the group was chosen, the most likely account is that Ball chose it at random from a copy of the German dictionary by stabbing the book with a knife. The tip of the knife landed on the German word Dada, meaning hobby, a serendipitous choice that aptly reflected the purposefully amateurish works associated with the 3. The Dada philosophy represented a break from cultural and educational standards that were prevalent at the time. Adherents even went so far as to challenge the very foundations and institutions that make up human society. In fact, this sense of nihilistic idealism and rebellion against proper education was the overarching theme that characterized Dadaism, which promoted dissent from the conventions of. For even prior examples of experimental art styles, such as the Cubist and Surrealist art that arose around the turn of the century, were not immune to Dadaist criticisms. Some fringe members of the Dada movement derided the commercial success of other modern artists, such as the Cubist Pablo Picasso, accusing them of selling out. Accomplished modern artists were alleged to be self-absorbed, greedy, and preoccupied with fame, and accused of abandoning their creative integrity. Dadaists viewed them as unauthentic examples of revolutionaries and began to stress anti-art as a way to combat the confines of modern art. A true Dadaist represented that was opposite in the hands of the viewer, and concerns for mainstream ideas were abandoned. The group strove to offend, in order to combat what they believed the commercialization of the creative process was perhaps best explained by one of the group's central figures, Marcel Duchamp, who once Dada is the nonconformist existed in every century, every period since man is. 5. Duchamp, for instance, made a name for himself by recreating cherished pieces of art and distorting them to show the famous example of this is his Mona Lisa postcard, where he drew a mustache and goatee on the face of the celebrated subject. According to Duchamp, it poked fun at the institution of art. This image has since become a symbol of anarchistic art, and one of the more famous examples of the Dada movement.